here's Brody Brazil.
One of the main reasons I am loving this voicemail line is because it opens up my brain to the things that you're thinking about. So please call in right now at 833-4-BRODY if you've got a question, a comment, or a contribution to this YouTube channel. I listen to all of the voicemails, and then I get to play back and respond to the very best ones, like here on future videos.
Hey, Brody. This is Kyle from Cincinnati, Ohio. And the reason I was calling was I have a theory about the Cincinnati Reds.
All right.
That not only are they inept, but they intentionally choose to not want to win. I believe that they want to be somewhere between 11th place to 25th place in the league, because if they do any better than that, they'll have players that want to start getting paid more,
right,
and they'll either have to lose money by paying those players because it won't equate to that many more fans in the seats in the smaller market.
Correct.
Or they have to sell those players off and anger the fan base. So their solution is basically keep the team just good enough that the fans don't riot, but not good enough that they'll actually, have to put up or shut up. Just thought it was an interesting question to propose, and would love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks.
Kyle from Ohio, thank you so much. That was a great call. It sparks an outstanding conversation. And I think the way I'm going to term this is being intentionally mediocre. Like, I've always thought about teams either being a have or a have-not franchise of Major League Baseball. You've got the resources, you've got the market, you've got the money you can spend, or maybe you don't. But maybe there's also the conversation of, are you actually even trying sometimes? Or are you trying to be in that middle ground where it's safe? Up here at the top, things are moving fast. It's expensive. There's a lot to gain, but there might sometimes also be a lot to lose. Certainly if you're mailing it in and not trying, you're probably going to get called out on a regular basis. And look at the Tampa Bay Rays. Was their ownership forced to sell the team? Was that part of the equation here, or was it just a stadium thing? Anyway, my point is, maybe there is some safe ground, like right in the middle where you just aren't noticed, and you hope people keep rushing by you, and your team doesn't operate at a loss. You can operate maybe even at a profit, and your franchise continues to increase its valuation. I'll talk more about that in just a second. But yeah, I've had a lot of suspicious thoughts recently, and I think this is becoming more clear with the have and have-not franchises of Major League Baseball. Are we really starting to see a separation? Now, I've gone out here to name a few teams. I don't know if that's fair or appropriate, but I think what I'm doing here is probably labeling a lot of the teams that you already were thinking about in this same category. I know obviously the call here is about the Cincinnati Reds, but how about the Minnesota Twins? How about the Athletics? How about them? How about the White Sox? How about the Marlins? How about the Rockies, the Pirates, the Rays, and the Nats? Now, I know you could look at some of those teams and say, wait, haven't some of those teams been playoff teams recently? Aren't some of them fighting to be playoff teams this year? Has there been a World Series in the last decade or so for some of these teams? Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying you can't have success. Like, sometimes the right group comes through, they win it for you, but were you really trying to make that happen? Were you trying to keep that happening? Were you trying to start a dynasty? Or did you say, let's get this in, let's win, let's capitalize, and then we'll move on so that we don't have to lock in for the next 10 years and pay all these players an extreme amount? Now, you will also notice that a lot of those markets are not the biggest across the United States. Some of them are smaller markets. Even a team like the Royals, though, I didn't put them there in the conversation. Heck, they went out and re-signed Bobby Witt Jr. to a huge contract extension 2 off seasons ago. My point is, some teams are on the border. Some teams are trying a little bit more than others, but this kind of seems like a group to start the conversation with. Maybe there's more. Maybe some of these don't deserve to be in that group, but this is kind of where I would start that conversation. It is true. Winning complicates things. You're putting a little bit more risk out there when you're trying to spend more, when you're trying to make the moves that put you into that winning category. Now, again, I want to be clear. It's not always about spending equals winning. I mean, look at the Mets. Look at the Padres of recent years. They have spent as much as anybody, and, well, the Dodgers have too, but the Dodgers have won. My point is, only one team can win the ultimate prize, and spending does not equate winning at all. Spending does, though, keep opening doors for you. It puts you in more opportunities to be a winning team, to get to the playoffs, to win the World Series, to have your window be extended so that you're not just a good team for 1 season or 2 seasons, How about 8 seasons? That's what spending does when you get the right players in there. Payrolls and transactions are all in plain sight. This is not a secretive thing, and that's why those teams right there I can list and say they kind of fall in that group of questionable. Are they trying to be intentionally mediocre? Is that the safe spot of baseball? And what can baseball do to make sure that that doesn't happen? A lot of people instantly say salary cap floor. Well, I shouldn't say salary cap floor. Salary floor, not salary cap, salary floor. You've got to spend up to a certain threshold so that you can be in our group, in our club, in our competitive league of teams that are actually trying year after year. Look, I understand there are going to be some lean seasons. You have to plan out for the future. You can't be spending every year. But when you've got a Paul Skeens, yeah, I'm talking to you, Pittsburgh Pirates, when you've got a Paul Skeens, a generational talent, and you're not already talking about breaking out the bank for him like you have to. You're going to compete with the bigger markets, but you have to keep Paul Skeens. Will you do that? The answer is probably not. I'm not saying that a franchise has to spend like crazy year after year, but yeah, there are these certain situations where you got to go for it when you got the right guy or group or whatever. Like, actions speak louder than words, and when all of this is in plain sight, yeah, your actions speak quite loudly, more than any quote certainly could. And so I'll end it with this, kind of where I alluded to at first. Maybe it's just safe. Maybe it's just optimal to operate at a little bit of a profit, keep your baseball team, making a little bit more money than it's losing. At the same time, your owner gets to increase the valuation. This used to be a $1 billion team. Now it's a $2 billion team or a $4 billion team. So it's safer to just be in the middle of the pack. And if you win, great. You capitalize on that, but you didn't really push for it. If you don't win, your business is still doing well. Is this a business, or is this a competition of teams and trying to make fan bases happy and trying to reward them? Are all teams even capable of trying as hard as others? There's a lot to this, but I do think it's fair to say if we can identify one takeaway, one big takeaway from this video, there's definitely some safe ground in the middle of Major League Baseball if we're talking about the business side of it. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Helps me, this video, and this channel. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would definitely love to see you back here next time.